I know just about all of us have had that car that we really regret getting rid of. That's what I call the one that got away. Check out what I'm talking about on this version of the Classic Car Thread. If we knew back then what we know now, there's no way in the world we would have gotten rid of some of the cars that we had in the past. For me, that was my first car, my 70s Chevelle. I was out on a date with my girlfriend, the girl who I eventually married. But at that time, we were out on a date. I had just dropped her off after the date. And on my way home, driving down I-635 in Kansas City, Kansas, I had a blowout. And when I went to change the tire, my spare was flat. So I had to call my dad, who was working second shift at the General Motors plant. And when he got off work, he came and picked me up on the side of the road, and his spare was flat. So we thought, let's just be safe, take the battery out of the car, because people were stealing batteries out of cars that were left on the side of the road. We took the battery out, got the tire fixed the next morning, came back, the whole car was gone. My car had been stolen. I was devastated. I checked every tow lot in the entire metropolitan area of Kansas City, and that car was nowhere to be found. The Highway Patrol said that people were stealing cars with tow trucks because nobody would question them. Well, it took me 31 years to finally get another 70 Chevelle, but I got one. But check out some of the stories of other people who had one that got away.
The one that got away, my dream car is a 1970 Pontiac Trans Am, blue with white stripe and blue interior, which I believe is the Lucerne blue. So my cousin owned one when he was growing up, and the family sold it, and I was never offered to purchase it, or my parents never was able to buy it or something. But I wish I could have bought it from him, because I believe he sold it for $6,000 back in around 1986. But it was beautiful. It had a 455 in it. It was fast. It was the most incredible car ever. It had honeycombs, and I believe it had the disco ballish looking dashboard instrument panel on it. So it was cream of the crop, and I really wish I could have bought that one. That would have been the best car in my life, and it might have got me in a lot of trouble, I don't know, but it would have been fun.
Oh, my WS6 Burgundy Firebird. I loved that car. Put the tops down and had the big motor in it, and cranked the radio up. It had the Bose system in it. And take off. Listen to Prince until I just couldn't listen to him anymore.
I was driving down Gallatin Road past the buy here, pay here lots back in the late 70s. And I saw these two 69 Chevelles sitting at the buy here, pay here lot, and they said $800 on the windshield. And I thought it was said 2 zeros after it. It actually said down, the end. So anyway, I didn't pay any attention to that, and I called my dad and I said, I need this car. So I went and checked it out, and it had a Muncie 4-speed in it. It had a 350, and it was orange. Not a bad paint job, but not a great paint job, but it worked for me. So my dad went and bought it and found out it was about $2,000. So he paid for it, and it had a little bit of an oil leak. And I went to the auto parts store, and the guy I told him I had a leak. He goes, well, I've got this stuff, and it was block seal for a water leak. But somehow or another, between his explanation and my explanation, I got confused, and I poured the block seal into the oil. So the lifters started clacking, and it immediately started shutting down, and it was done. And I pulled the head off, and I looked, and that stuff was everywhere, and it had sealed all the oil passages, and so it ruined the motor. And I just didn't. I took a tailpipe, and there was a radiator laying out there by the shop, and I beat that radiator into a U-shaped. I was so mad because I'd done it myself. It was my own fault. So then I just decided it was time to do something else. So I bought a 70 Nova from a friend of mine, and I sold this car to a junkyard for $100. And that was the one that got away, and forever after that I wish I'd kept it.
So that was their story, and pretty soon we'll be getting your stories as well. So be sure and stick with us for another episode of the Classic Car Thread.